Welcome to our next video in Module 3. Now that we've chosen our annual student outcome goals and written them in SMART goal format, we want to begin drafting a plan to reach our goals. This plan will include identifying mindsets and behaviors and corresponding learning objectives we will want to address and teach students to help us meet our goals. We have included a copy of the Annual Student Outcome Goal Plan template, which starts with the data priorities, supplemental data, and the SMART goals which we just completed. The goal plan is also where we will identify the strategies that we will tentatively use to achieve these goals. Each goal will have its own individual plan. We've broken down the goal plan into smaller steps to make it more manageable. When you are done with this module, you will have a complete student outcome goal plan for each of your goals, which will include the goal itself, as well as your plan for addressing the goal and how you will assess if you've met the goal. The first step on the goal plan is to identify the student standards we want to address and teach students to help us meet our goal. Remember, in the ASCA National Model, student standards are the ASCA mindsets and behaviors. The mindsets and behaviors are based on research, and they describe the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that students need in order to achieve academic success, post-secondary and career readiness, and healthy social emotional development. The mindsets and behaviors identify and prioritize what students should be able to understand, believe, and do as a result of a comprehensive school counseling program. Similar to ASCA's mindsets and behaviors, the Indiana School Counseling competencies for students cover 3 areas: academic, career, and student well-being, formerly known as citizenship development. These standards contain developmentally appropriate concepts for each grade level and should serve as a foundation for what students should know and be able to demonstrate by the end of each of the designated grade level stands. We'll first look at each of our annual student outcome SMART goals and identify which mindsets and/or behaviors, if prioritized through the counseling program, will help students move closer towards achieving our goal. Think about your supplemental data and what it told you about students and what they might not know or understand and why. For example, if your goal addresses an attendance issue based on student attendance data and a large number of students reported in a needs assessment that they are experiencing a great deal of stress and anxiety, you might consider selecting the behavior from the mindsets and behaviors related to self-management and demonstrating effective coping skills when faced with a problem, or perhaps demonstrating the ability to overcome barriers to learning. You may select more than one mindset or behavior to focus on for your student outcome goal. However, it's best to limit it to 1 or 2. For my example here, I have chosen one mindset and one behavior that correspond to my goal for decreasing 8th grade students who are failing the state standardized math assessment. My selection was informed by what I've learned from teachers and pulled from survey results indicating that students struggle with time management and study skills and appear to lack motivation. You will select the mindset and behavior you determine is most appropriate for each of your goals. Again, it's best to limit your mindsets and behaviors to 1 or 2 per goal. Next, we need to operationalize our mindsets and behaviors. What this means is we need to think about which specific skills or knowledge we want students to attain. If you've noticed, the mindsets and behaviors are more broad and general. So while they inform an area of knowledge or a type of belief students should have, they aren't easily measurable. We operationalize the mindsets and behaviors by creating learning objectives. Learning objectives are brief statements that describe what students will be expected to learn by the end of our classroom lessons, large group presentations, or small groups. They are the skills, knowledge, and attitudes students need as they work toward meeting the broader mindsets and behaviors. Learning objectives are also a way to establish and articulate expectations for students so they know exactly what is expected of them. When learning objectives are clearly communicated to students, they will be more likely to attain the skills, knowledge, and attitudes necessary for the mindsets and behaviors we've set for our goals. To put it simply, a learning objective describes what the learners should be able to do, know, or believe after they complete your instruction, or whatever activity, strategy, or intervention you decide to use to help students attain the mindset or behavior you identified as necessary for reaching your goal. Let's look at an example of mindsets and behaviors and learning objectives for a goal of reducing discipline referrals for fighting, where supplemental data from student surveys revealed that students weren't able to name alternatives to fighting when conflicts arose. Based on the mindsets and behaviors we want students to attain, we will write 1 or 2 sentences describing the specific beliefs, knowledge, or skills we want students to have. These will be our learning objectives. Make sure to identify and enter a learning objective for each one of your mindsets or behaviors. It's best to limit your learning objectives to 1 or 2 for each mindset or behavior. Remember, we identify mindsets and behaviors and create our learning objectives before we create strategies, interventions, or activities. We will discuss those in the next video. Your tasks to complete for selecting your mindsets and behaviors and learning objectives are: 1. Select 1 or 2 mindsets and behaviors for each of your student outcome goals. 2. Write 1 to 2 learning objectives for the mindsets and/or behaviors you identified for your goals. As always, I am happy to help if you need any assistance. You can contact me at rfraser@doe.in.gov. If your question pertains to the online platform, you can also contact Amy Portis of Inspire Success, our technical partner, at amy@inspiresuccess.org.